What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of A Wolf in Gates Clothing, hosted by yours truly, Wolfson. And with me, I got another special guest in the building. He's a very great friend of mine from all the way from Iceland. You guys have seen him on the Lone Wolf podcast interviews. He is a very successful filmmaker, writer, actor. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can add to top of it. Of course, he is known as the Vanguard champion of Iceland. Please say hello to Óli.
Wow, what an introduction. What an introduction.
I need to hype people out. And that's my role as the hype man. We hype people out.
Yeah.
So how you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I mean, I woke up 5 minutes ago, but I'm doing just fine.
We're all in the same boat. But you told me that you're now working on the knife shits, and now you're waking up at this time. Like, what time is over there in Iceland?
It's about 3 o'clock in the evening.
Holy crap! You weren't kidding around when you actually went sleeping all day and night.
Yeah. I work like 12-hour night shifts, like from 8 to 8. So yeah. I mostly sleep through the day, but then I get a few days off, and then I go work like more day shifts, 12 hours, and then I get a few days off. It's a whole thing.
That's good. So let me ask you, like, in the time that you're working in the knife shits, like, how many days off do you have during the week that you can actually do a bunch of other stuff that you want?
It just depends on how much I work. Like, we have this system called 554, which is like you work 5 shifts and then you get 5 days off, and then you work another 5 shifts, you get 5 days off, and then it goes to 4, and then you get 4 days off, and then it rotates back to 5. It just to keep a simple structure to the whole thing.
Oh, well, that sounds good. Does that actually give you enough time to do all your stuff that you're passionate about, like the filmmaking and writing and whatnot?
Yeah, I also tend to use the time I have on night shifts also to write and do other stuff like that, because I'm mostly sitting in front of a screen. So,
right.
So that just gives me enough time to do a lot of things. And also on my days off, I like to spend time with my girlfriend, and then, meet up with the card group, and just it's really nice to have just a few days off when you've been working a lot of shifts. So
right.
Instead of just having the weekend off or something, I do get a lot of days off. So that's pretty nice.
That's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good. I mean, you spend most of your day just sleeping and then resting, and then just have a few hours to yourself before you go to work. And then afterwards, you get like 5 days off on a roll. Or is it in a row, or is it like a few, like you mix?
Yeah, it's in a row. Like I work 5 days in a row, I get 5 days off.
Damn, but it's not that bad then. And then you take advantage of doing all your stuff that you're writing right now. What is the latest thing that you're writing so far?
Currently, well, what I'm currently writing now is just trying to figure out some other projects. Like I wrote a movie a few years back, and that's going into production. So that's pretty good. Hopefully we start shooting it next year, hopefully. But in the meanwhile, I'm currently just trying to write a lot of things because, the brain doesn't fucking stop. And I just keep trying to focus on one idea at a time. But I always have a lot of ideas. The last thing I wrote was this outline for a series. It was a psychological thriller about this woman who's finishing a psychology degree, and she's doing this study on an old foster home that burned down, and there's a serial killer on the loose, and it connects. So that was pretty fun.
Well, I don't need you to tell me more about it. I wanna see that thing.
Yeah, well, I'll have to finish writing the thing, and then I'll submit it.
All right, you let me know. And please continue to send me more videos, man. Because the video that you sent me with you and your buddies, that I have to tell everybody, like, yo, you guys have to see this. This is like the funniest video I've ever seen, and it was made by my friend, and Like I loved it. Like I felt like, oh my god, if this was like in a way better production with like some big studio, this shit would have been the greatest hits of all.
Well, thanks, man. It was a lot of fun to be in. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to act in because I don't do a whole lot of acting anymore. So, but it was a lot of fun to be in that short film. I was asked by this kid called Patrick who had been a fan of the podcast I do in Iceland.
Oh,
and so I met him when I was doing this one other short film, which pulled me out of acting retirement. There was a kid from my hometown who was making his own short film, and he asked if I wanted to be in it, and I just said sure because he was in one of my short films a few years back, so I was just like, okay, I'll be in his. And then Patrick sent me the script for the other short film, and he had me in mind for this specific role, and I just read the script, and I liked it, and I really liked the character he had designed for me. This stoic. The stoic guy who seems to be the only one in this universe who's like a professional.
Yeah. Nobody's taking him seriously.
Yeah, that was the take at least I had, because if you watch the short film, because we play these two assassins, you can just tell by the body language which one is the more professional, because my co-star, he plays his character like this, like really, really off the wall, just loosey-goosey, deranged person, and whenever he's holding a gun, he just does it like with one arm, and he doesn't have his shoulders locked. But contrast that to me, and I always have like both arms on the trigger and just shoulders locked, and I just decided to put stuff like that in there because my character doesn't say a lot, so I was just like, okay, so I'm gonna have to really use my face and my my body language for this one, which was a lot of fun.
No, I thoroughly enjoy it. And I told you like all the stuff that I was telling you, like and me watching it back again, remembering, like, dude, this, like, I feel like this is something that comes out of the movie The Losers, the Red, a Quentin and Pulp Fiction. It's another one that had to come out of my head because it's like, if, like, in a sense, you play almost similar to the Samuel Jackson character, where he's always the serious motherfucker that is like needs to get shit done, and the other character, John Travolta's character, was a little bit more off the wall in a sense. And they have that comedic tone. It shows the serious tones, and then at the same time hits with the comedic tone that you're like, man, you guys just got it perfectly balanced all around there. It was actually pretty fun, and I'm happy that I was able to experience that. You showed me that video for the first time. I was just like, bro, this is amazing. We need more movies like this.
Yeah, I agree. It's also a really unusual film for Icelandic short film standards because of the tone, and just people in Iceland just never use guns. So you you rarely see guns in an Icelandic movie unless it's like a film about drugs or cops or something. But so a movie about two assassins in Iceland was something like, that's a rather foreign concept, but anything if done well works. So
it works. That's actually very interesting. I've never heard that. So in Iceland per se, like if it's not like drugs or something that there has to be guns, like they will never use that concept of wearing weapons on a movie.
No, just guns in Icelandic films are pretty much non-existent. There were these two films made in Iceland. I think they were called what the fuck were they called? I don't remember what they were called, but there were these two films about corrupt cops, which is also like a weird concept for Iceland. I mean,
yeah.
So that had a lot of guns, and maybe films about hunting. Like there were these two comedy films about these a group of friends that go like on a fishing trip, but they also go hunting or something. So, and people have guns in Iceland, but you never hear of like there's a lot of gun control here. And so I also remember this one time I wrote this script once for a short film we wound up shooting, and in the first draft of that film, the character held the bad guy held the other characters at gunpoint. But when I sent the script to an actor friend of mine who I wanted to play the role of the villain,
Right.
he asked me to change the weapon because he said him having them at gunpoint just feels too American.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So we changed the weapon to a hammer, which just wound up it actually wound up being better because there's a scene where someone is trying to call one of the people he's holding at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And he just smashes the phone with the hammer, which we never could have done if he had a gun.
That's really interesting. That's actually pretty interesting because I feel like that gives you a whole lot of room or possibilities of creativeness to do certain movies or TV shows, however you want to put it. Won't be related to having the use of guns. Now, you think it's because like for us Americans, it's much more appealing. It's like, guns, yeah, I like it. Versus like if not having a gun, it'll be much more appealing to everyone else.
I think so. I just think the concept of people running around with guns in our films is just, I think it's just too much of a foreign concept to us because we rarely see people with guns in Iceland unless they're going hunting or something. I mean, even our police don't have guns.
Wow. What is it like in Iceland overall? Like the whole concept of having a gun is like I don't know how to approach that. Like that's actually pretty interesting, and I never knew like this is how satire has become for me here in the States, where everybody must have a gun or not. It's like I never actually thought about any other country outside of it that might say, we don't really rely guns. We just smack people with a hammer or a stick and then call it a day. It's like, okay, I'll take that approach. At least the guy is alive, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that also I didn't even consider until like I started making short films and stuff in Iceland. So I just realized like, we rarely see guns in our films, but there are guns in Iceland, but they're mostly just used for hunting.
Yeah, for hunting purposes. It's not for defending yourself like it is here in the States or in North America overall. That everybody has a gun because safety purposes, not for for hunting. That's actually
it's a whole it's a whole process.
Wow, kudos. I support Iceland in all this, man. I would rather live in a state of Iceland where like the only time you'll use guns is only when you're hunting, not for anything else. It's like I'd rather live in a world like that than what we're currently facing on an everyday basis here. Yeah,
and also there are just some people who just collect them. There are some people that like have a gun collection, but they never even fired off one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's actually pretty good, man. That I like that concept, but yeah, I got myself way too political on this part. I just find it very interesting. That's all. Because like in some ways, it's like that's actually pretty cool that you can make a nice, decent movie or TV show, whichever how you want it, without having the use of certain weapons out of it, and makes. I feel like it just brings out more creativity out of you than just like call it a day and just slap with a weapon and that's it. That's what we're gonna be using, a gun. There, bam, done.
Yeah,
that's just find it like it's very creative.
Yeah, it is. But I also just like this conversation pretty much had to come up if we were gonna be discussing the film I did, because I just remember thinking like, how is this gonna look if we're playing like these two gun wielding assassins? But but then you realize, like, you can do any film you fucking want as long as it's good.
As long as it's good, it has good writing, good acting, good screenplay all around. If it's good, it's good. Just deal with it, Just go with it. I like that. Let me ask you this, because I definitely want to delve into this, and I want to hear your thoughts as somebody that is a filmmaker, writer, actor, all those above, like, because you have been doing that and you have that, and that's your current, a resume on top of it. What is your status as a filmmaker, a writer in the current climate in Iceland's studios, whereas here in the States in Hollywood is on a rampant strike because of the terms of use of likeness and the use of AI and all that stuff. Like, what's your stance? Because I feel like maybe they're not the same. Like the way you talk to me about doing movies in Iceland, I feel like it doesn't even compare or touch to what's happening in America and Hollywood.
The writer strike was a whole thing, but I'd say here in Iceland, it's a whole different spectrum, really, because when you look at LA and Hollywood and stuff like that, they have like directors guilds and they have Screen Actors Guild and Screenwriters Guild. We don't have that. So, but we do have a film school, and then there are people who, go to film school and some people who don't go to film school. But in order to get like funding and stuff like that for your film, everyone has to go through the same process. Mm-hmm. So you have to apply, like you can always just grab your camera and shoot a film.
Yeah.
So, but to get like funding and grants and stuff like that, whether you went to film school or whether you didn't go to film school, you pretty much always have to go through the same process of, applying and just showing the board, quote unquote, like the movie you want to write or the TV show you want to write, or if you have a draft of it or stuff. And it's an arduous process. Like I have a good friend who's a film director here in Iceland as well. And he said, like, because he's applied for many, many different projects, and like he hates doing it because it's such a long and arduous process, and you have to do so many things. Like you have to send in so many like written files, like what your film's about, and like the production cost, and if you have a draft of the script you're writing, and then it's a whole process, and the reason why it's so like long and precise is like if he said like, yeah, if this thing was easy, everyone would do it. So and it also just takes a while to get a response. So you do a whole thing and then you wait for a month or two to get a response from them, and then it becomes a whole conversation.
So basically, like, whatever happens over there in Hollywood does not affect you guys in your own studios in Iceland, or gives them a little bit of it, like. That thing like didn't affect us at all, as far as I'm aware. If it had happened like last year, maybe,
really, or the year before, because they were shooting this film called Operation Napoleon. That was the English title for the film. It was adapted from this book an Icelandic author wrote, and we had an actor from Hollywood. We had Ian Glenn was in it.
Whoa, okay.
So I'm thinking, like, because he probably has a Screen Actors Guild card. So if the strike had gone last year, maybe that would have had an effect because he was part of the production. So,
gotcha.
But I don't know, because I wasn't part of the production. But a good friend of mine was. But a good friend of mine was in the production of that film, and apparently it was a lot of fun.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. So
except for like his first day ever on set was my friend's first day ever on set as I think he was an assistant camera operator, and they had to go all the way to one of the snowy mountains in Iceland, and that was his first day on set ever. Just cold. So,
That was a snowy day for him, huh?
Yeah. He was like he was freezing his ass off. So that was an experience.
Oh, that was well. That's fun. Hey, welcome to production, huh?
Yeah.
Emotional.
Rain or
damn
shine,
it.
or in this case, snow or windy, you still got to show up.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. That's good to hear that, whatever happens to you to Hollywood does not necessarily will affect anywhere else outside of the Hollywood, unless, like you said, unless there's somebody who actually has that card from the union to like do some outside productions of Hollywood and may affect, and that's the only time. Other than that, nothing affects you guys. That's actually good, and it's good because that way, I guess, like in a way, like you don't have to necessarily have to be involved with Hollywood if you ever want to do a film or TV show or whatnot. You guys just run it by yourself and call it a day. That's it. We don't need you guys. We can just handle it ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's actually pretty good to hear. So, well, I want to ask you like those little pointy questions, but it's not that pointy. But I want to hear your perspective as a filmmaker, writer, and actor. Like what are your own personal opinion to what's happening in the situation of Hollywood? Do you think and I'm just spitballing here, and you think whatever's happening in Hollywood could potentially affect other places as well?
With like the strike thing and stuff like that.
Well, not more necessarily the strike, because strikes is basically just the people trying to give us a fair shot at this. And mind you, the whole reason why the writer's strike happened, it was because the writers were not getting paid for every movie that's been streaming. So they're only getting paid for the work they did. And usually writers and whoever's part of the production companies of set film or set TV, they get a cut. Royalties or what's the other word? It's not royalties. Royalties usually for music. That's the only one I could face of.
Like revenue or something?
So, it's another word. Like, when you, I guess, revenue checks. Like, oh fuck, I can't believe I forgot. And I know I had it. It's like what when you get a percentage for every time they play a movie that you were part of, and they give you a little check saying, "Hey, here's $100 of this check." It has to, maybe it's revenue. Maybe I don't remember.
Yeah, or royalty or something.
Yeah, right. I'll associate everything with royalty because that's the best explanation I could give anybody to everything. It's royalty checks. The reason. So writers were only getting paid for the work they did, and then you get royalties for every time every time somebody purchased the film or watches on cable, that you get a check out of it.
Yeah.
The problem is that these movies, it's we're streaming, and we're living in a whole new world where everything is streamable. The thing is like those streams are considered to be money revenues as well, because you get a percentage. Problem is that the studios were not spreading those. We're not spreading those to anybody who worked on the production. The studio was actually getting themselves the money to themselves. So that's why the writer's strike happened because of that, and also actors were involved with it because actors are noticing that studio sets are now gotten themselves into AI, and now AI they want to take studios want to keep your likeness. Do you know what that term likeness means? Yeah, so they want to keep the likeness. So it's let's say I talked about this with my friend of mine, Mike Phoenix Hero. Shout out to him. That if let's just say that in a whole movie, Tony Stark, the actor, Robert Downey Jr. decided hey, I want to finish. I'm done with Iron Man. I love Iron Man, but I'm finished. And movies are okay, cool, no problem. You're done. We're going to take your image and we're going to put it for many more Marvel movies. And then we'll still have Iron Man, even without you. Even you don't have to act. No. We're just taking your image and we'll put it on an AI and generate it and have the voice and everything. That was scary to me when AI got very introduced this year with that whole concept. That was very scary because listen, I don't know how many times I would say this, but have we all seen Terminator at this point? Do we not know what this could potentially happen? Call me crazy, but Jesus.
You serious?
We've seen this before. Skynet, hello. AI being sentient. Like, sure, we're talking about this in the early stages, but they do learn. And the film studios, they just want everything generated by AI, whether it's writing or acting itself. And that could potentially lose any potential actors. Like, just say that an extra, let's say an extra, it has the talent and it can be the next MVP or whatever. And they work for one day only on a scene. They get paid $100. That's it. It's like, you know what I mean? No. We already filmed you. We can just replicate you on another scene, on another movie and whatnot, because we just purchased your likeness.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I just want to hear your thoughts behind that aspect of, you know, the writers and on the actors striking.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get the reason, because like there was I saw this clip from, I think it was from some Disney production of late, where where the cast, the background characters were just like CGI images.
Yes.
And I just think it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So, and also just the thing about just pay your writers, man. It's like, who's it hurting?
Oh, well, apparently the CEOs who make billions of dollars every year, that's hurting their pockets, apparently. Which is like the recent update that I saw recently is that, you know, thank God that the writers have made their peace and they make negotiations. So writers gonna get paid for what they deserve for every time they stream and whatnot. So that's good. And the actors they're still waiting. And based on what I've seen, is usually it's not a lot that they're asking. They're just saying like, you can't use our likeness to whatever you want to please and call it a day. And the studio sets are like, nah, we want to use it. They're actually being a little bit greedy, which is kind of funny because like, dude, you're showing your cards of how greedy you guys are and making you guys look bad in front of your company, but also it kind of sounds like you guys are desperate.
Yeah, it's just such a weird situation to be in, like, because acting is such a difficult craft, like, which is why I don't tend to do a lot of acting, because I don't always find it fun.
Okay.
And I really admire people who genuinely seek out to be actors, and people who love acting and stuff like that, because like even when I do my own short films, I don't like to do a lot of takes, but then there are other people who like to shoot a lot of coverage and not do a million takes. Right. And then you have actors like doing the same scenes for like hours on end, and it's such a grueling thing. And so for this whole thing, for someone to like use your likeness, I just think it's ugly, because you can never capture the subtleties of human emotion like someone can do with their face. And there are some actors who do so much with their face that you could never like replicate that. Like, I was discussing with a friend of mine, we were talking about like Mark Hamill, who's always been a phenomenal actor. And I just said like he can do more with the facial expressions. Yeah, he can say more like with his face than many other actors can do with words. So, and also, we've seen in films of recent years where they try to do like CGI de-aging, and you know it just never comes out right. Whether it's like, sometimes it can look like really good, but then when it starts talking, it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of two shows that I've seen that they use like CGI just so it can be shown there. CGI the Goldbergs. One of the actors, the ABC fired that actor, and he was like one of the main protagonists because that guy has been like all season since the very beginning. They fire him for I don't quite remember what it was, but his characters was still alive and he was still around before the last season that they killed him. But they had to use CGI twice to so they can show his character for iconic scene, and it looked very fake. It looked very unreal. Didn't look right.
Yeah.
And the other one was if you watch the Disney Plus series, like the Star Wars series, like Ahsoka and the Mandalorian, and when you saw the scene for Mark Hamill's character, Luke Skywalker, and it looked de-aging. It kind of freaked me out a little bit because I was like, okay, it looks good, I guess, maybe, I don't know. And then Anakin Skywalker's de-aging factor as well. That I'm pretty sure they did it right with Anakin. I hear a lot of people screaming and complain about it. I don't know. I felt that it looked pretty good to me, but I feel like they did it right because obviously he's dead, so they're using it as with holographic visual effects on top of it and stuff that can hide the de-aging factor, But it's still the whole de-aging process. It still looks kind of weird. It's even
also just the thing. I had this discussion with my friend who had this like really great observation about the de-aging thing and CGI doubles. Is that it never looks the same to any two people for some reason because just because how the human brain and the human eyes work, it's never going to look the same to any two people. Like some people like really love the CGI double for Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One because they think it just looks photorealistic.
Oh,
but then then like ask two people what they think of it. One of them will say like, "It looks good," and the other one will say like, "It looks like claymation." So that's why it never comes out right because in the latest Indiana Jones film, they de-aged Harrison Ford, and I thought it looked really good, but to my friend, it looked awful. So because it just the human eye just renders things a bit differently. Like we pick up these details that and also the thing with eyesight. I guess
I don't know. I don't look very much to the people's eyes. I guess. But it's just the whole feature itself. It was like, I don't know if this is gonna be a thing for the later content. I hope it doesn't. Like we don't have to continue to rely on the aging, adding CGAs and effects work for it to work. And I hope we don't get to see more atrocities like that Disney show that you mentioned. I saw the clip as well, and that was just like hot garbage. That scene. That was like, I can't believe that they allowed that they say it's okay, we can do it. Like, how in your bright mind thought that this is okay and nobody's gonna notice and nobody's gonna complain about? I mean, this is exactly what actors are complaining about,
Yeah, exactly. It looked awful. That's just just the main takeaway from this.
Yeah, I mean, moral and thoughts for this little topic. It's right in this episode. They still haven't reached an agreement with the actors. CEOs, studios, you guys need to pay your actors. I mean, pay your actors for your streaming service. Like, I get that some of them are like, complaining about in the sense of like, like we're paying the actors millions of dollars for them to star on this amazing movie. Like, what more else do you want for us? I get it. They get a lot of money, but at the same time, it's not fair for you guys to use their likeness and have it exclusively to your likeness. Because imagine like, you did a Disney movie and then they did your likeness with Disney, right? And then and then Universal tells you, yo, we want you for this movie, man, and we believe you're perfect and we'll pay your quota and everything. Oh, shoot, right. No, you can't, because Disney owns your likeness.
Yeah.
And now you cannot shoot that opportunity that's like, oh my God, it's a good movie, I want to be here. Now you can't. Now you're stuck to do Disney films. Whatever Disney produced it, now you're stuck with then. And also, a step further, like if you just like want to take a break with acting and decided to like do commercials, like do a Speedos commercial or a Doritos commercial or whatever commercial, or even be the face of a brand, like, oh, Nike supports this guy, so your face is behind Nike. Or I can go on with, with advertising and the marketing, or even fashion, as well as fashion. You can't be the face of all of them because Disney took away your likeness. Like, your image is owned by Disney and it has to go through Disney first. And then if Disney allows you to do this, Disney needs to get a cut from it.
Yeah.
It's kind of messy. Like, again, guys, I'm using Disney as an example. It's not like I want to put that out there because I don't need people to be like, oh, I hate Disney. How dare they do this? It's like, no, it's not just Disney. All studios are like this, but I'm using Disney as the example.
Yeah, and I'm also just for my two thoughts here would be, like, I think it's just a really creepy notion of someone owning your image. Like,
yeah,
like if they're gonna do that, at least put it in someone's contract or something. Just allow them to have the option, like, hey, like if you have to do some sort of reshoots and I'm on the other fucking side of the country, sure, you can just use my likeness for a scene or two. But like with everything, you just have to see how far stuff will go. Like imagine you're an actor and you sign off a contract, like you sign up with the studio, like that you're gonna do 5 films with them, and then you shot 2 or something, and in that contract they would like have your likeness or your image, and then like imagine then going to see a film and all of a sudden see that you're in it.
Sure.
Hold up.
And you didn't even know you were in it.
Something ain't right.
Yeah, like if it actually goes that far, like I think I would just freak the fuck out.
And I think that's exactly what the actors and the union was trying to push back. They were trying to we don't want that to happen. We don't want it to go to that point of no return, in which like you're signed up for 5 movies, you only did 2, and the other 3 it was all, AI voice generated or CGI and whatnot. Like, it's like, damn, bro. Like, and I only got paid for 2. Messy situation, honestly.
Yeah.
I really hope.
Yeah, I just said, it's a pretty disturbing notion.
And it's crazy how now AI has been infiltrated to those aspects, It's like, holy crap. Like, we've gone this far enough that now AI can be used for anything. Like writing down a script, writing down an image, creating a video, creating a completely new person and whatnot. It's like, that's why I said, like, it needs to be regulated. Like, I don't mind using AI if you use it for the good reasons, for the proper right way of doing this. But obviously these people, they just want to use it for the all wrong reasons. That's why I feel like the government itself, and it doesn't have to be like our government, it's any government, needs to create a regulation of how to use AI, so that way these studio sets or companies or corporations know, okay, it applies to all of us. We can't be using AI the same way we're using it. We have to be careful. We have to do it like this. Otherwise, everybody's going to go rampant. And I feel like it's getting pushed right now for that regulation act. Like I heard that they're in the words of this act called the No Fakes Act. I only briefly read about it and talked about it last episode. But I feel like that act itself is exactly what we need, a regulation for the use of AI and its likeness and whatnot, because otherwise we'll be having a lot of Robert Downey Jr.'s voice generated on every other fucking movie or whatnot. And Robert Downey Jr. was not part of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy the world that we're living, man. It's crazy. I didn't know we were this advanced. So.
Yeah, no, just can you imagine if this whole thing would go that far that just we'd all just go back to stage acting just exclusively?
I think that's like the perfect timing for stage actors to shine even more. Like people that are in Broadway and whatnot. I feel like that's the time where they're gonna shine even more because now they're actually legitimate using real acting.
Yeah.
Nothing's being fake. Oh my God. Imagine we're seeing a movie and it's all stage acting.
Yeah.
Hey,
wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be something? We're gonna end that topic with that. Notion just like we hope for the best. Let's move on with the next topic that I definitely want to talk to you because I feel like we haven't talked in quite some time. And we need to catch up with all the cool stuff on the TCG aspect, like the first thing you tell me, you're like the Vanguard champion of Iceland.
Yeah.
That's
we had our first ever.
No, I'm just gonna say it. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. We had our first ever locals in Iceland for Cardfight Vanguard, and yeah, I wound up on top. It was pretty fun, and it was also the desired outcome. But it was still just like a test tournament just to see if we could like host our own tournament, and hopefully, and we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna do this whole thing where we're also gonna have like loaner decks because there's this store in Iceland which it's dedicated to like the Pokemon TCG.
Oh,
and they have their own locals in Pokemon, and they always like they announce when they're gonna have a tournament, and they have loaner decks for people who like would like to try out or just want to play, and they don't have a deck, or they don't have the most expensive cards or whatever, and they have loaner decks, so you can still take part. So we're gonna do that for the next one.
That's actually pretty cool. Like, is Vanguard actually that big over there in Iceland?
No, it's really not that big because the biggest, like, we have Nexus, which is the comic book nerd geek memorabilia store in Iceland, and they sell a lot of TCG. They sell Yu-Gi-Oh, they sell Pokemon and One Piece and Digimon, but they do not sell Cardfight Vanguard.
Oh God!
So any player in Iceland who actually plays, they just do their own shopping for it.
Yeah, and so typically they'll just like whatever cards they want to get, they'll have to like order online and get it shipped.
That's how I've bought all of my cards.
Holy crap, that's crazy.
Yeah, but we are thinking about going to this one card shop here, and we're gonna try to get them to start implementing Vanguard in it, because we want to create a big community with this, because like everyone I know who plays Cardfight Vanguard loves to play Cardfight Vanguard, and we want it to be a bigger community, because like they have Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments like every Friday here in Reykjavik, and then they have Pokemon tournaments, and they have Magic tournaments. They also did and also like Flesh and Blood, and they also play Digimon and stuff like that. But we really want to like expand the Cardfight Vanguard player base, because I still think it's the most fun trading card game ever. Aside from like classic Yu-Gi-Oh,
like Go format, Edison format, right?
Yeah. I still think Yu-Gi-Oh peaked in Edison. So
yeah, I think like the synchro era of Yu-Gi-Oh was arguably one of the best mechanics of all Yu-Gi-Oh, and I feel like that was the last time Yu-Gi-Oh felt balanced and health.
Yeah, and also it just felt fresh.
Yeah, yeah. Like the whole synchro thing was good. I think when they implemented at seas, probably it got a little bit too much because it's like
Yeah,
I agree with you with that. We had a conversation last time we talked about how Go format was basically like you got the biggest bit stick, like a monster with 1900 attack power, and next turn you'll just sacrifice it to something bigger, and you got Jinso, and that's it. Like it wasn't. It was all 1, 2, 3 card combo in one turn. That's it, and you set pass, set pass, set pass until it begins 20 turns. And when you say in Edison format and during that era of synchro, you said it like Konami did the right thing by implementing like certain cards that are now you have to play level 2s, level 1 cards, level 3 cards because you need them to synchronize to get bigger. Like the reward itself becomes a bigger thing. Because once it enters at seas, it's like, oh, I can still come back again to having level 4s. Like you just slap any level 4, it doesn't matter. Etsy summon. And then Pendulum was just a broken thing that should have never happened.
No, that was the beginning of the end.
That was the beginning of the end. That was the beginning. Like Pendulums was just like, nah, bro. And then Link summoning, I have to say Link summoning is cool, but I don't think that's fair either because they use the mechanic itself to... You can use anything on your field, and then you can build up an entire thing. And I think it's because the link summoning itself gives you like, oh, if you link summon, and then this effect goes off, and then this effect goes off, and then you got 5 monsters on the board now.
Bruh.
You're like, what the hell? All because of that one link summon?
Yeah. I don't really like the whole aspect of that because synchros were just such a fresh new thing. And it made you have to construct your deck in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And then when they made XPs, it was just like, hey, here's synchros, but easier. Just now you can have now you can just go back to having a dedicated level 4 deck.
Yeah.
And also looking back, like with modern card design, like remember in early synchros when a level 4 tuner had like huge backdraws.
Yeah.
Like a level 4 tuner was busted, but now it had to have like this huge backdraw. Like Hyper Synchron was a level 4 tuner, but if you used it to synchro summon, the synchro monster would be banished at the end of the turn.
Right.
But now level 4 tuners are they're way too good. Like not only do they have like broken effects that summon other monsters to make the synchro summon easier, but they're also just level 4 tuners, which is just I like the older aspect of it, where like if a card was a level 4 tuner, it had to come with a price.
Yeah, it feels like right now there's not that big of a price just having a level 4 tuner. In fact, it just extends your combo, your game state even further. It's like, damn, bro. That's why, like they say, when there's a level 4 tuner gets revealed, it's like, oh, it has to be broken. It has to be broken because it's like it can do so much without for having a level 4 tuner. I mean, literally having a level 4 tuner, you can literally synchro off with anything. And now now they're coming with synchro monsters that doesn't necessarily require for you to have a tuner.
Yeah.
That's broken as it is.
Also
the fact that you don't need a tuner, but it's okay to have 2 tuners and you can synchro off, or we can make one of these cards into a tuner and then synchro off. It's like, yo.
Yeah, and I also just don't like the fact that with like XCs was just simplified synchro, and then Lynx came out and it was just XCs and synchro simplified again, because now you just need 2 monsters or 3 monsters and what I don't like about that is the added aspect of recovery. Like when you were playing in like Edison, when you're playing a synchro deck, like you have to keep the numbers and levels and stuff like that in mind. So like if you fuck up, it was just like, shit, I should have gone for the level 6 synchro because that would have gotten me over there.
Yep.
And then maybe you're just stuck with a decent board, but you're just like, now you're left with maybe a synchro monster and a tuner monster that just isn't going to do the trick. And you're just like, I see where I went wrong.
Yeah.
But now it was just like, okay, I fucked up the synchro combo, but I can still go for the link play. So it's just maddening.
Yeah, no, it's getting out of hand. Like, I mean, I'm still playing it. I love it, and sometimes I hate it because I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh is one of those things that you love and hate.
Yeah. You have Yu-Gi-Oh is probably the card the trading card game version of a really toxic relationship.
Oh my god, it's so true.
Like, why don't you just leave him? Because I love him.
Don't you see? I love him.
Yes.
I can change him. him.
Yeah, I can fix it. I can fix it.
Emotional, damn it.
See, that's why doing tier limit format, which is what known as tier 0 format, which I've never experienced a tier 0 format. And when I did, it was the most horrible thing I've ever experienced. That it got me to the point like I was thinking of quitting Yu-Gi-Oh overall. And it made me jump to play Digimon for a bit.
Yeah. I think that was one of the reasons I actually started playing Cardfight Vanguard, because I pretty much stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Aside from when we go to we have goat format decks, and I also have Cube, which is just a draft format,
right?
Which a friend of mine created, and I also have I did sell a lot of my collection, but the thing I kept was just the character decks that I've made, because that I just think that's really fun. Like when you play because I have character decks from Original and GX and 5Ds.
Yeah.
And some Zale, and I just think that's just think that's the most fun way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And also I also have character decks from the new movie. Like I have a Yugi's deck from the movie, and Kaiba's deck, and Aigami's deck. So it's just really fun, and I just feel better playing those. I don't if anyone enjoyed playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like it is today, good for you. I'm not gonna shit on you for liking Yu-Gi-Oh! Like it is today,
right.
But Yu-Gi-Oh! How it's played today is not the game that I fell in love with.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the game I like to play.
Yeah, having only one turn combos, have a state, and then when it's on your next turn, you basically can't play through. You don't even have a fighting chance. If you do have a fighting chance, it's slim to none, and you'll be barely scraping off. Yeah, I can agree with having everything's on a dice roll. If you win the dice roll and you have you have the right cards, you draw them out, then you have the chance to win. That's it's not as good as it was when it became Edison format, in which I guess that's exactly why everybody loves Edison format, and they like to play the Edison format on all the locals, because it's back to where Yu-Gi-Oh was much more healthy and balanced, per se, at least, because obviously you're always gonna have a broken number one deck, but at least that number one deck is not always the top deck,
Yeah, I agree, because every format has had its problems, but it didn't feel as frequent. You would hear when you were playing in Edison format and Synchro era and stuff, you would hear and also Xyz, you would hear about Dragon Rulers and stuff like that, but you wouldn't if you wound up playing against Dragon Rulers, you pretty much knew what you were up against, but every deck is pretty much constructed the same today. It was just it's just here's your here's your starter, and here's your extender, and this is your preferred normal summon, and this is and this is the combo enabler, and you want to summon this before you summon this, and search this, and I just like I don't want to be doing all this mental math because like,
that's what it is, a mental math.
Yeah, like in Synchro, what I liked the most about it was working with whatever you had. Like you would have, like, if I can draw a level 3, I can go here. But if I draw level 2, or like if I draw like Monster Reborn at this point, but one of my favorite memories playing Yu-Gi-Oh ever was when I had the Yusei Furo moment, just that. Well, like where I could see like the combo line.
Yeah.
And it was just it was the most insane thing I've ever done in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it could never happen in a game today because I was playing against one of my best friends, and he had like control of the board, but it was just like it's your classic like 5D setup. He had like Red Dragon Archfiend, and he had a Pierce. He had another monster on the field, and he had like 2 face downs or whatever. And I had just been sitting on back row that I couldn't use. And then I drew for my turn, and I was just like, I said like, I have to take a huge fucking gamble here because I had to get Stardust Dragon out.
Right.
And I just couldn't with the resources I had. But I did have, like, I had Urgent Tuning, and I had I don't remember what the trap card is called. I think it's called Synchro Material, where you can use your opponent's monster for a synchro summon. And also I had like Call of the Haunted or stuff like that. So what? No, I didn't have Call of the Haunted. I just remember what I had now. But I needed a level 6 monster. But the thing is, I didn't have a level 6 monster. So I wound up synchro summoning like Formula Synchron, the level 2 synchro tuner, and drew a card. And I pretty much, because of the board my opponent had, he had 2 monsters and I had 2 monsters, and I thought like I knew he ran a level 6 synchro, and I just like, I need him to get the level 6 synchro out. And I was just like, wait, how do I do that? And I was just like, if I summon a 3rd monster, he's probably gonna want to make his board like bigger as well. And so I thought, I legit thought, okay, I'm just going to go for Formula Synchron. That means I'll just have 1 monster, which will probably make him want to like synchro summon or something. Yeah. I don't know why I thought that, but I made Formula Synchron. I drew my card. I put a card face down, and I had like 3 back row. He draws for turn. He summons a tuner. He goes for the level 6 synchro. So now he has 2 synchro monsters. He has Red Dragon Archfiend, and he has like Gaia Knight or something.
Yeah.
So I then flipped up Synchro Material, used his fucking level 6 guy, synchro summoned Stardust Dragon, using his monster. So he goes like, fuck, how did you do that? And how did you know? And then he goes to swing with Red Dragon Archfiend, and I then flip up fucking Assault Mode activate, going into Stardust Dragon Assault Mode.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so that was pretty amazing. And but it was just this whole thing, like, when I think back to it, I was just like, this could never happen in a game today. This was like the biggest gamble, and it paid off.
Yeah, the risk factor in today can potentially hurt you. Like, I get in back in the day, your gambling is looking at a 50-50 odds, you know? Now it's more of a 90-10. Like, you have a 1% chance that this could work. And if it doesn't, it just hurts you.
Yeah, and also you can't really bluff your way out of situations anymore. Like, no one's playing around Mirror Force or anything. Like, you can't just set one card and just say, like, okay, attack for game. And then they're gonna like do something else. And also, like, when Gores was a thing, and stuff where you had, I think my biggest pet peeve in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know why this is. I think this is one of the reasons I like Cardfight Vanguard a lot more. I hate the attacking aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like, they just say, okay, I swing with it, they do the math on board, and they're just okay. So I attack for 8,300, and I'm like, no. Sequence your attacks.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I
That's
might
important.
have something.
Yes.
Like this is one of my biggest pet peeves, and people say like, but it never happens in Yugioh today. I'm like, I don't care. Sequence your attacks.
I agree.
So-
I agree. I do the same thing as well. It's like, yo, sequence your attacks. I will sequence mine. I'll go, this one 16. Okay. This one 15. Okay. 3,000. Oh, you got something. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
3,000. And then I'll take you with the 2,000, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I have to tell them as well as I sequence it, because you don't know if I have something or not. And if I have
Yeah,
a
and also-
response, it's like,
Yeah, and also like if you have a response and they just go like 80, they just go, okay, I'm attacking for 8,300, and I say no sequence. Now they know I have something.
exactly.
Because, because you can't do that like when you're playing Master Duel or the other thing. You have to attack one at a time, like in the real fucking game.
Exactly.
So just for my benefit, sequence. It's not that hard. Just say who you're gonna attack with first.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one aspect of the game. Well, I think people are just so used to like they're gonna wipe the board and they're just gonna attack the game. And as soon as someone says no, I might have something now. Now you have info because you're not playing correctly, and I hate it.
Yeah, bro. That just like does a big disservice to the game set itself and the integrity of the game. It sucked. I remember like not too long ago, I had to argue with somebody on local. This is locals, by the way. But most of the time, locals, I really don't care like how we ever play right now. But this one, I cared a lot because the guy showed up like 5 minutes late after the finish started, and he didn't get a automatic loss because he technically showed on time and slapped his fins on the board. So it's like, all right, whatever. He was playing a weird deck, Eldritch Runic. Weird deck. It was weird. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm just friendly with everybody. It doesn't matter who. I'm friendly. He got game 1. I got game 2. I was siding, so I know I'm going to get game 2 because I was turned first. And when he was siding, he was actually taking out cards and put it on sleeves. I was like, dude, you can't do that. You know you can't do that. You could get DQ, but I was like, okay, whatever, keep going, do your thing. Game 2, I got it. He didn't have any response. Like then on game 3, this is the part that I had to call for a judge because I was just like not gonna have it. So I know what he was playing, Runic Eldritch, whatever. So his first hand was basically, oh wait, I don't remember. Now I'm mixing out. I know game 3. I think game 3. He gave me the first turn. And I was like, fuck. All right. So I set it past because I was siding for whatnot. Then he draws. He has 6 cards. He literally sets all 5 cards.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool. Then he has 1 card in his hand. But the problem that I was having with him, that I called him out, is that he put his 1 card on top of the extra deck. And on top of the extra deck is the Field Zone spell, you know?
Yeah.
So normally if you're not going to hold your 1 card, you'll have it in your hand. Or you'll put it underneath the set 5 on the playmat, however you want it. Standard. As soon as I'm about to draw, okay, I asked him, excuse me, is that a field spell that you just said? And he goes, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. I'm asking you, is that a field spell? It's like, I've been running, you know what type of deck I'm playing. So why are you asking me that? Like for the sake of the game state, I need to know what you're playing. Is that a set card or is that your hand? It's like, let me ask you this. I'm like, I'm not going to ask you anything. You just tell me whether that's a set card or is that your hand. I need to know because the way he positioned it was very weird. I got so
answer the question, man.
Yeah, and you have to ask. You have to answer, whether how stupid it sounds or not. You have to answer because it's a public information that you have to ask her. Same thing as like how many cards you have in your hand. Oh, I got 4. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know. You only have 4 cards in your hand. How many cards do you have in your deck left? 20. All right, then you got 20. Thank you for differentiating. It's the same thing. He didn't wanna answer. It was going back and forth. I was just like, duh, I'm fed up. I called the judge. Judge gave him the DQ because I told him not only that he didn't want to tell me what he was setting, but he was also changing siding cards with changing the sleeves.
Yeah.
He didn't have sleeves for his side deck, and you can't have that. Oh my God, the guy was just ready to fight me. He was just like, oh, well, what do you think? Like, if you knew where I was playing, like, it's like, I don't know what you're playing. You could cite some cards that I didn't know that you can activate. How would I know? I don't know all your cards. I don't know basically all you're playing. Oh my God, it was such a, it got me so heated that it's like, I'm not returning back to these locals. Because there are going to be people like him like that, like, no way, bro. I will stick to my regular locals that I love to enjoy. I want to enjoy the game. I don't want to argue with somebody because of his stupidity that they can't even answer.
Nah, it's just in a monster zone.
Yeah, seriously.
And then someone would like hit them with an MST, and they pop a monster in the background. And I said, like, hey, you're cheating.
You see what I mean? Like, Edison format, I feel like it's one of the heaviest formats, or at least the most balanced format in all Yu-Gi-Oh history before it went a little bit too chaotic. And now it's like it's gotten even crazier because, you know, now they instead of like fixing some of the problems, the way they fix it is like whether it's bandless or creating more broken cards. So it becomes like you're not fixing it. You're just pulling under the rug, putting a band-aid and call it a day, and just creating more broken cards. Like you continue to do stuff like that, it's just never gonna balance the game state itself. It's never gonna be any healthier at all. And that's why that's why playing Digimon, it feels good because I guess at least at this point Digimon hasn't gone to that format way of things. And that's also my pet peeve is like, if we eliminate hand traps overall, would the game state of Yu-Gi-Oh be better?
No, because I really don't think removing the hand traps would do a whole lot today, because you still have cards that do way too much, and like hand traps became this like really necessary evil where it just works weird both ways. Like I tend to not like. I still like making Yu-Gi-Oh decks, but I tend to make them without hand traps. I just keep the hand traps in the side deck because I really hate seeing a hand trap in my opening hand.
Yeah, I do too. On first turn.
And yeah, like someone goes to you see this all the time in like locals where they're gonna go first and they like open like Ash and Valor and
Nibiru and Imperm.
And they're just fucked. And I was just like, yeah, don't construct your deck this way. Like, if you run too many hand traps, this is something that you're gonna be doing, especially if you prefer going first. That's why whenever I make a deck, I just put the hand traps in the side deck. Like, I don't side deck really optimally, but that's just so I can just focus on the deck building. So like if I ever have to put like something in a main deck, I just put Imperm because like it's a trap. I want to see a trap in my opening hand maybe. But usually I just don't build the deck with hand traps in mind. I just put them off to the side knowing like, oh, if I'm up against this, I'll just side this in. So
yeah, I think right now the way I'm playing it, I think the certain decks that I'm playing, I'm only running no more than 9 hand traps. In fact, there's times that I only have 6 hand traps, like 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and I think that's pretty much it. Like if I'll add something, I'll probably put it on the side. Like it's becoming much more rare of me putting hand traps. Obviously, I need to have Ash. Ash is like the must minimum on every deck.
Yeah.
Like it's a universal hand trap that everybody has, and it's good overall. And Emperor has been very good. There are formats that Emperor does nothing, but in the current formats is doing pretty good. So Ash and Emperor is like my go-to side deck. I'll put like whatever extras I want to put. And now that there's Now that I have Frost, like Frost, I can just search any one card spell or trap, normal spell or normal trap for it if I get, hand traps. So I was like, all right, it's beneficial. But yeah, having hand traps, I don't know. I still maybe I'm going crazy. I don't know. I've been playing this for a while and it's making me explore other options. Have you even tried One Piece, by the way? Or no?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. People are telling me like it's bonkers and whatnot. I haven't even got into it, but that's because I'm not that big of a One Piece fan at all. Like it's a good anime. I just don't watch it overall. So I don't know.
Yeah, no. Currently, I'm just gonna stick with Vanguard.
And you're only playing Yu-Gi-Oh if it's Edison format. That's it, right?
Yeah, like character decks, Goat, Edison, and Cube. So, which is like a draft format. But I started making this deck like last year just for fun because my friend and I, who also plays, we sometimes like to see if we can do some fun spins on some modern decks. But like I don't really play it. But yeah, I just play Yu-Gi-Oh casually now, and like if people want to play competitively, good for them. That's just I don't want to do it.
That's good. But we need to schedule this for another time, a much more comfortable time for both of us that we can actually spend more hours and hours talking. Because every time I talk to you, it's always great,
Yeah, likewise, man. It was great hearing from you again.
Absolutely. And next time we could be much more personal. We can much more chillax about it, and we can just like go on at the deep end, man. Ali, thank you very much for coming for the show, man. I really appreciate it. I always want you to know that you're a very great friend of mine. And whenever you come to the States, you let me know, man.
Oh, I will.
Absolutely. And guys, let me know in the thoughts let me know in the comments down below what are your thoughts about, all the discussions that me and Ali were discussing. What do you guys think about the film industry and how it's like completely different from here in the States than it is in other countries? Let me know what you guys think about the current TCG. If you guys want to check Ali on his Instagram and whatnot, I'll leave you a comment down below so you guys can check that out in the description and follow him. And if you guys want to learn more about Vanguard, Cardfight Vanguard, let him know he's the champion. He's the champion of Iceland, man. Card Vanguard is like, as you heard it, it's not that big, but he's making sure that him and his homies are making it a fin in Iceland. So I wish you good luck for that, my man. Wish you good luck. Yeah, guys, thank you very much for coming and tuning in. Remember, every week is a brand new episode with a brand new topic. So always remember to like and subscribe for your weekly episodes at youtube.com/AWGC podcast or AWGCpodcast.com. Comment down below and let me your thoughts, share your experiences. If you guys got a specific topic that you want me or Ali to cover, please let us know in the comments below. Do our best to cover in the next episode. So guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.